Public. Did I name this one yet? Hallelujah, praise Yah. Uh-oh, I put MB. Give me 1 second. Praise Yah. Welcome, welcome. Praise Yah. Welcome, welcome. Praise Yah. Welcome, welcome. All right, I'm just putting a name here. Praise Yah. Welcome, welcome. Let's get this thing going here. Okay. Welcome back to 3T's, where we tell the truth. Praise Yah. Welcome, welcome. This is something different for you today, but this is it all has to come together. Everything has to come together. Praise Yah, and we want to give the Most High Yah, creator of the heaven and the earth, Yah of eternity, Yah of glory, Yah who is wonderful, who is the Yah of peace, and he's a Yah who avenges those who mess with his children, messes with his, his people. He is our avenger of our enemy. He avenges the wrong that is done to us. So don't worry. Don't worry yourself too much. If you can't see it, don't worry about it. For all weapons are not carnal. So you don't see it. You might feel it because it's the spirit. It's inside the spirit, but all weapons are not carnal. So they mess with your imagination. This matrix mess with your imagination. But that's why we fight through the power of God, who can break down those strongholds that we cannot see. Hallelujah. Praise Yah. Hallelujah. Praise Yah. Let me start now. All right. So let me get into something. I wanted to go over envy and fear caused slavery. That's how slavery began, period, in history. If you don't know, you're going to know after this video. It was jealousy, envy, and fear is what caused slavery. There was a lot going on back in the days, if you didn't know, with a lot of people in the Bible. But I'm going to start with the 12 tribes. I'm going to start with the 12 tribes going into Egypt. But before I get into the 12 tribes going into Egypt, because Joseph was there, remember? Let's go back a little bit. Joseph's brothers were jealous of him. They envied him because Jacob showed Joseph more love to his brothers than he did to the other 11. Well, the other 10, because he showed the same kind of love to Benjamin that he showed to Joseph, but Joseph was the primary key to his heart. So his brothers eventually got jealous and they sold him into slavery. But mind you, let's go back before that. Let's go back to when Abraham was alive. Abraham had a nephew named Lot. That was his brother Haran's son. And when Abraham went out of, what was it, Canaan? I believe it was Canaan. He left and he took Lot with him. The Most High came to him in a dream, told him to get far from your land, and he would make him a nation of many. So he took his stuff. He took his nephew Lot. So they left, and let's get to the point now. He left. They had a lot of wealth. They were crowding each other's spaces. So Abraham asked Lot to go somewhere else, not in a bad way, but he told him to go somewhere else so that they would have peace, because there was a lot of feuding going on between the herdsmen. So Lot left. He went there. He went to Sodom, or somewhere near Sodom. Either, I think they said near Sodom, but one says in Sodom, the other say near Sodom. But anyway, the people, King Elam came and ravaged the whole Sodom and Gomorrah. And they took Lot captive and they took all his goods. Abraham heard about it. He went and avenged his nephew and saved his nephew out of captivity. So you telling me everybody say that Abraham was this peaceful man? He was peaceful man, but he was a man of war, just like our God is very peaceful. But he is a God of war. If you bring him to that point, when you mess with his family, his friends, his peace, then you're going to get some vengeance. So that's what you got to understand about all of this. And we have God, God is in us. And you better beware because he's waking up those spirits. He's waking them up. Hallelujah. But let's get fast forward. So the first incident that I know of was that one where Abraham got into it. It's some more funny stuff before that, but I'll make another video about that, about Abraham, because he's very funny. I like him. He's very funny when he was young. But anyway, let's fast forward to Abraham and his sons. They all went to war. Um, Wait a minute, was it Abraham or was it Jacob? No, let's fast forward to the 12 tribes now. Now, the 12 tribes, they had a sister named Dinah or Dinah or something like that. I don't know how they would pronounce it back then, but today we probably would call it Dinah. Dinah was raped by this guy, a Sechemite, and it pissed his brothers off. I mean, it pissed them off. And they went and they tricked them. They tricked all the people and told them, and if you want to take Dinah, then you're going to have to circumcise yourself because they were uncircumcised people. And the children of Jacob, they were all circumcised because that was a covenant between God and the Israelites. They had to circumcise each man. So they agreed to it because they wanted Dinah that bad. He should have thought about that before he raped her, though. But excuse me. Um, so they did. They consented to the circumcision. And while they were in pain from the circumcisions, Levi and Simeon went in there and murdered all these people that was a part of the Sichemites or whatever you call those type of people over there. He murdered all those people, all their children, the women and the men, everybody that was there. He murdered everybody on behalf of his sister from them violating his sister like that. And to them, it was an abomination to mix with their people because of the way they were. They were not circumcised. They were not holy people. They were just heathens and Gentiles. So they were like, no, you shouldn't have did that to our sister. They wouldn't have gave her up to him anyway. But they were unholy people, so they could not mix with Israel because Israel, you have to be a holy people to mix with holy people. There's no separation. There's not supposed to be any separation in the people. So that's what happened. Now let's fast forward. After that, they ravished about 7 cities. They took out a bunch of kings. So the fear of the tribes were across the land. This is during the time when Jacob's sons were living. There was fear for them throughout the land. The people were afraid of the 12 tribes of Jacob, his 12 sons, because of how fierce they were. And not only that, they come from a line of fierce. Abraham, Isaac, they come from a line of fierce families. And not only that, the reason why they were so powerful is because God was with them too. You know, when God is for you, like they said, when God is for you, who can be against you? So, let me see. I'm great, thank you. And you got to know when God is for you, who can be against you? You understand? So let's get back to the point. My point is, after all these wars they had before going into Egypt with Joseph, this is the response from the people. They all wanted to fight them, but they were saying, like in Jasher, it said that all the inhabitants of the city of the Canaanites, this is Jasher chapter 40, verse 8 and 9. It says, all the inhabitants of the city of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Hivites, and the kings of Canaan, and also those who were on the other side of Jordan, heard the noise of the shouting on that night And they said, surely these are the battles of the Hebrews who are fighting against the seven cities who came nigh unto them, and who can stand against those Hebrews? So this is the mentality. Thank you. This is the mentality that the people had back then. They had this mentality like nobody could stand against these Hebrews because they strong because of their history of defeating anyone who came into their path. And to be frank with you, before all these wars broke out with the Israel, they always talk about, if they do talk about wars breaking out with them, they talk about how evil they are. They always talk about how evil they are. They were not evil. They actually were a peaceful people. They were not violent. Before people started testing their peace, they were not violent. They were always humble and stayed in God's will. And of course, a couple of people wanted to try some of the small things like sleeping with other women, things like that. But being violent was not their virtue, it wasn't their way of being. So they were more of a peaceful people. But if you bothered them, then yes, you were going to feel the wrath. And that's what happened. So let's fast forward to the point of this. The title of my video is envy and fear caused slavery. So I want to bridge, like I said, I want to show you the link, the missing links between back then, which we don't know how long ago back then was, and today, our time. Maybe not my time exactly this year, but in 2019, but the time of my ancestors. I'm pretty sure like right before my grandmother, because it was still going on during the time my grandmother was living in Mississippi when we were kids, and when we weren't even born, when her children were children, they were living in the Mississippi. Why did she leave Mississippi? You understand? There's no reasons. There's no explanation for these things. There's a reason why they left, and they don't explain anything. So the point is, I'm going to bridge that link. I'm finding that link on my own. Okay, because when Joseph ended up in slavery in Egypt because of his brothers selling him, so that was the envy and jealousy of the brothers pushing they wanted to kill him, but the oldest brother Reuben told them, no, you're not going to kill him, we're going to take him back to his father, like we're not going to do nothing like that. So they didn't want to take him back to his father. They wanted him to suffer because he had said he had a dream that he would be king over his brothers and his mother and father. So they felt like, who you think you are? You ain't gonna be no king over us. Let's see if you'll be a king if we murder you. So they were envious of him, but the envy didn't come from him just saying this dream or interpreting this dream to them. It was because of how Jacob loved Joseph so much. And it's almost like, excuse me, he favored Joseph over all the other children. So they were envious of that. So that's why they wanted to kill him. Well, some of them, the ones that were really jealous, the other ones, they didn't care about what he said and how long. They knew their father loved them too, so they didn't worry about the special treatment with Joseph. They were not envious like that, at least, and not to the point where they wanted to kill him. But some of the brothers were. Now, while Joseph was in Egypt, everybody knows the story. The famine came, and Jacob told his sons, "Go down there, get some food, and so we don't starve to them." So Joseph knew they were coming because he knew there was no food anywhere else except in Egypt, and he was in charge by this time, and he went through a lot of years of suffering, and God raised him right up to to be king of Egypt. Basically, the only one over him was the king. So he was the one distributing all the foods. Thumbs up. He was the one distributing all the food. And so he told the people at the gates, here's some names. If these people come in with their names, so ask everybody their names. And if these people come in, let me know. So, and bring them into his office or whatever. And all his brothers came in through different gates, right? Because that's what their father told them. So it didn't look like they came in there and do something wrong. But it's still, Joseph played a game with them. It goes on and on and on. I don't want to get deep into that because it can take up too much time. But anyway, Joseph played a game with them. He knew it was his brothers. and he still was playing with them until the point where if you only seen how Judah was ready to go to war with all of them. He didn't care, especially when they went back and got Reuben, which was Joseph's younger brother, because he said, go get your youngest brother. And then he told them they were spies, and he said, the only way I'll let you guys go without believing that you're a spy is if you go get your younger brother, bring him back. Excuse me. So he played this game with them. He knew they didn't know that it was Joseph because he looked different, and he was a child. He was like 18, 17 or 18 when they sold him into slavery. And by this time, he probably was like 30, 40 years old. So, and he looked different. He was dressed different, like an Egyptian. So he looked like an Egyptian at this time, by being around them, I guess, and living their lifestyle. Anyway, let's fast forward. They found out it was Joseph. Joseph, all this time Jacob thought his son was dead. They found out it was Joseph. Jacob was ready to go see his son. Joseph sent for him. They end up moving into Egypt. That's how it happened. They were treated good in Egypt all the days of Jacob's life, their father. Soon as Jacob died, there was a war between Jacob's sons and Esau. The children of Jacob won those battles. They won every battle. They had fought them 3 times. They won every battle. So these people were mad at the children of Esau because no one could prevail over them. No one could run over them and just conquer them. So they hated them for that. Everybody always tested them because the kind of people they were different from everybody else. They were more of a humble people, but they were fierce and confident in their way. They weren't just some weak people just sitting around waiting for things to happen. No, they had a way of life that they lived, and they stayed in that will of the Most High with living their life. And people wanted them to change. That's how we ended up. I'm going to tell you about that. Now let's get to the point. Let's get to the point. So we know that the Egyptians, they're in the land of Egypt now. All of the people, the children of Jacob, are in the land of Egypt now. So while they're in the land of Egypt, now let me tell you, there was even though the children of Esau's heart, they say, we're not going to fight Jacob's sons anymore, because after the last battle, they were just like, you know what, we're not going to fight them anymore. But they ended up fighting them anyway. One more time. They had one more battle with the Egyptians and the sons of Jacob. But this time, they thought they would rally up all these men. They said the way they describe it is they were as big as the sands of the sea. So that means there were a lot of men. There were lots, but they described that, I think they said it was like about, was it 600,000, 800,000? There were like a few 100,000 men. But the way it looked, like they were so many that they couldn't count. Now, the king of Egypt, the new Pharaoh, because the old Pharaoh that Jacob knew passed away. Then the Pharaoh that Joseph served died. His son, who Joseph knew, died, and his son, the son's son, began to reign, and he began to think like the Egyptians, because the original Pharaoh, he took a liking to Joseph because Joseph helped him in a lot of ways. And his son knew and saw what Joseph did, so he respected Joseph too. Like they knew that Joseph wasn't trying to run over them, so it was not a problem for Joseph to reign in his kingdom the way he did and run things. But when the grandson began to reign, things changed. He started thinking like the Egyptians because he got all these Egyptians influencing his way of thinking and what he should do, how he should do this, and how he should do that. He didn't really have a good set of thinking on his own. He needed counselors for him to understand things. So while the children of Jacob were still living in Goshen, and they were multiplying, Eliphaz, the father of Zepho, who Joseph took down into slavery, which Zeppo ended up escaping, and the men that were taken captive with them escaped after Joseph died. They all went to, his father wanted to avenge them. Eliphaz wanted to avenge them for all the things that happened to them and what they went through with Joseph and his brothers. So they went down there to start a fight with the Egyptians again and the children of Jacob, all his grandchildren now, because all his sons are dead. So after all his sons died and Jacob died, only ones left now are the sons and the grandchildren and the great grandchildren and so forth. So what happened? The Egyptians were ready to go fight with the Edomites. So it was four kings that went up against the whole land of Egypt, including the Israelites that were there. So it was Edomites, the Midianites, the Ishmaelites, and the Chittites. They all joined forces to go against Egypt. And Egypt got their men together, and they said to the Israelites, "We need some of y'all to go fight with us. We want you to fight with us." So the Israelites only sent 150 men. Now, watch this. Pay attention while I'm telling you why we ended up in slavery. Now, I'm getting to the point. Pay attention now. They took 150 of the Israelites to go to war with them, but it was about 300,000 Egyptians. 300,000 Egyptians. Mind you, you can find all of this in the book of Joshua and compare some of, because they took most of this out of the Holy Bible anyway, but you can compare most of it with the Holy Bible. Not the details, though. They don't tell you the details of all these wars and battles. The only the ones they wanted you to know, the battles and wars of the people who they wanted you to know, who they can use to deceive you with. They can't deceive you when it's the children of Israel. So now in this battle, the funny thing is the Egyptians told the Israelites, okay, they said, okay, there's only 150 of them, and it's 300,000 Egyptians. So they're all going to go to this battle against all these Edomites and all their hosts. Now, the Egyptians began to get scared. Like, even though it's only 150, I mean, literally 150 men, and they're 300,000. And they're afraid, like, they're afraid thinking that the Israelites were going to turn on them during this war. And because the Edomites are the Israelites' brothers, that's Esau and Jacob are brothers. So these are their families. So they figure, they're going to get them to turn on us, and then we're going to all perish because of the Israelites. So they were like, you guys stay back here. But if we need you, then we'll call you. So the Egyptians went to war first. So they went battle with all the Edomites and their hosts, and the four kings just ripped Egypt apart. So they're screaming for the. They fought them until they got to that little place where they told the Israelites to wait. And once they made it there, then they screamed for the Israelites to help them. Now, mind you, this is 300,000 men of Egypt fighting against men, thousands of men, sands of the seas. Okay, and they are strong because they're destroying the Egyptians. They said about 180 of them fell right away. They're all fighting. They even killed 30 kings. So they are really like getting their butt kicked. So out of all this, they call the 150 Israelites. Now, the 150 Israelites prayed to the Most High before they went to battle. And when they prayed, the Most High gave them strength to prevail over that sand of the sea army, and they conquered them. Only 150 men. Now there was 300,000 Egyptians, but it only took 150 Israelites to conquer these men, to where they pushed them back, had them running away, and it was only 150 men. Mm-hmm. Let me see if it tells me real quick how many men it was. Did I write that down? How many men? They just say it was. The number of the people were the sand of the sea. So, but we'll get into more detail. That was the first battle. They had many fights, but this was, I think, the final battle at that time. Pretty sure Israel was going to be tested, but after this, we'll see why they ended up in slavery. So, being that there was only 150 men, let's get to the point. Being that there was only 150 men out of the Israelites who went up against all their brothers, because they were their cousins, and they were their cousins because they were Esau's sons, and all of us, some of them were probably their uncles and all that, from the children of all the children of Noah, like their children, their bloodline from Ham, Japheth, and Shem. So all their bloodlines, all these are their family. Even that's crazy. That's why I'm like, why did Egyptians say that? Because they were still their family too. But I guess at that time they had the vine had stretched out so far, the roots and the branches, that they didn't see themselves as family any longer because of their ignorance. But now, after this war, this was the last war before the slavery ever came into existence. So this was the last war between the Edomites, the Chittites, the Ishmaelites, and the Midianites. So when I say Midianites, Ishmaelites, Edomites, and the Chittites were all together, and all of Egypt and the Israelites were fighting against each other. After this battle, matter of fact, during the battle, okay, before I get to after the battle, during the battle, right before, right after the Israelites jumped into the battle, the Egyptians backed away from the battle. They were afraid, and they were all running away and left only the Israelites to fight all these people. And this, remember, it's only 150 of them. So they left them, they abandoned them, fled, and start hiding from the Edomites and all of their brethren, and they left the Israelites there to fight on their own. So after the battle, the Israelites were pissed off. They were like, first of all, this was not even our battle. This was your battle. They came to fight Egypt, and we came, even though they did want to fight the Israelites too. But they basically were proclaiming that they were going to go fight all of Egypt. The Israelites helped them in this war, and while they were helping them, they abandoned them and left them there to die. So the Egyptians were watching at a distance to see how it all turned out, and they saw the power that the Most High had put on these men, because these were the powers of their fathers. They're the same way they began to get their strength at this time was the same power that Jacob and his sons had, and Abraham, and all these people before them. They had that same might in them, and God encouraged that might. So they defeated all these people, and it made them scared, so they ran away. Now on the way back to Egypt, the Israelites saw some Egyptians. Now, mind you, this was a battle. They were playing with they were being really funny at this time. So they saw some Egyptians, and they started killing them. They was like, we don't know if it's an Egyptian or a Edomite, a Israel. What he say? We don't know if it's an Israelite. I mean, sorry, Ishmaelite, or Edomite, or a Chittim, or a child of Chittim. They said, we don't know. So they start slaying them along the road as they were on their way back to Egypt. They knew that they were Egyptians. They did. They what they said was, this is exactly what they said in the book of Joshua. It said, "Smite, smite, for he is an Ishmaelite, or an Edomite, or from the children of Chittim." And they slew them. It's not funny, because when you read the whole thing, you be like, "Dang, that's the reason why all this started." That's exactly what kicked off slavery. That right there, them asking the Israelites to go. I'm gonna tell you how in a minute. by them asking Israelite to go fight with them and then abandoning Israelite, knowing that their numbers were greater than the Israelites. And that the Israelites, if it had not been for the Most High strength in them, could have died. And then they still would have been conquered but if it wasn't for the Israelites, they would have been defeated. They didn't have no gratitude, only fear. So what they did was they heard about what happened on the road. They heard about how the Israelites were killing the Egyptians on their way back to Egypt. So they all had a council with the meeting. With the king. They had a meeting with the king, all of his counselors, on how they should deal with this stuff. So what they did was they told them, we need to deal with them because look, there were only 150 of these Israelites, and look at how many there are now. Look at all these kids they're having. Then they grow up, they're gonna conquer Egypt. They're gonna take over our kingdom. So we need to deal with this. And how did they describe this? They said that they wanted to. Mm, they needed a plan that would gradually destroy them until they were, from among them. So they needed something that would help them to start a destruction of Israel. Now, this is where slavery started. This is how it all started. So let me try to give you some of the details. So they call it that they said they were acting cunningly on the road, and they were, and all of Egypt feared the children of Israel when they saw only those 150 men destroy thousands of men. And by themselves, 150 killed at least 4,000 of their men. And by them killing those men, it pushed them back, the rest of them back. So they were like, whoa, it's only 150 of them, and they just coming, and they ready to go all night. And they couldn't understand. Egyptians could not understand the power that Israel had in them. They could not believe what they were seeing. Like, we're 300,000, they were just killing us like flies. And it's 150 of them, and not one of them died. Not one of the 150 died. Not one. You've got to understand the power of Israel, the men that the Most High created. You got to know. This is why they want to keep it a secret. They don't want you to know who you are. The Black Hebrew Israelites. Anyways, I'm going to tell you like it is, though. Now, what happened after this? So they had devised a plan to gradually destroy them from among us, lest they become too numerous for us in the land. And so they devised a plan against Israel. So this is exactly how it started. So let me get into it real quick so we can get this over with so it don't go too long. They started a hard labor. So because of that fight, they used that fight of losing that fight to their advantage, and they told all of the land. So they devised a plan to call all of Egypt, including the Egyptians and the Israelites, to come build the wall, to fortify the walls of Python, Pithom, and Ramses, these two cities. So they wanted them to work in Python and Ramses to build their walls around them. So that way, if another war broke out, then they would at least have walls to protect them for a little while, you know, from these other armies. So this was the deception. Let's call everybody to help us fix the walls. We'll pay them for their services. And eventually, after a month, we are going to remove all the Egyptians and only put all the work on the Israelites. And after that month, after giving them their pay for the first month, we're not going to give them pay after that no more. We're going to take the Egyptians away from the work, and we're not going to pay the Israelites either. And by that time, we're going to be oppressors over them. Now, let me tell you exactly what they said. They said, go down to and make a proclamation. And he said, where did my proclamation? And he said, cause a proclamation of this kind to be made throughout Egypt every day at the command of the king. Said, who among you of all Egypt, of the children of Israel, and of the children of the inhabitants of the cities are willing to build with us, shall each have his wage given to him daily at the king's order. So this was, and they said, so go you first and do cunningly and gather yourselves and come to Python and Ramses to build. So he's telling the Egyptians this, and he's telling him do it cunningly. They were cunningly on the road slashing up the Egyptians, so now they're cunningly devising a plan to slowly destroy their entire generation that live in Goshen. Okay. So they told them, okay. So when they went to go build, the Levites didn't go. So later on, they don't say it right away, but later on they say that the reason why the Levites did not go with the rest of the Israelites is because they said they knew that they were being, deceptive. They knew they were being deceptive. But I'm thinking to myself, well, why you didn't say anything to your brothers? Why would you let them go down here by themselves? Even though it was a lot of them, because it was more a unity of the Israelites than the Levites. The Levites was just one tribe, so they had all these other 11 tribes. So why didn't they say anything? I don't get it. But let's get to the point. So while they're out here working with the Egyptians, they told them to slowly drag yourselves away secretly, one by one. Just disappear, get off the work line, and then at the end of all this, we're going to leave it only to the Israelites. And when they start refusing to work, then we're going to force them to work. We're going to do some horrible oppress them. And that's what they did. They began to oppress them. So the same Egyptians that started pretending like they were working with the Israelites withdrew themselves away from the work. Then they came back as oppressors. They became taskmasters and officers. This is how it started. I'm only telling you what's written, baby. This is how it started. Now I'm going to get to my point of all this at the end of my video. So while they were oppressing and what they call it, first of all, they forced them to work, and then after the first month, they stopped paying them. They started beating them and oppressing them, and what they call smiting with heavy blows. So they began the Egyptian, what the Israelites, what I couldn't understand is why would they not pray to God about this? I don't know. Maybe they were too. The only thing I can see is that their souls were so low at this time, and then remember the branches were spread it out at this time. So most of the generations that knew God a lot more better than these Israelites were dead. So most of their brethren were dead. But see, the Levites were supposed to have been God trained. Like that was their only goal. Their only purpose was to instruct their people about God's ways and God's law. So that's another one that's missing the pieces. But I'm gonna give you what I found. They don't say nothing about Levites or none of that. None of the value that they have being shared with their brothers. The prayers going up for them. Nothing. So that's other missing links. But I'm giving you the parts that I found. So they were giving them, they were not paying them, they were overworking them all day and night, and they were beating them and oppressing them. And now they're saying we're going to do all this every day so that they cannot have any children. So that way, by the time they finish what they work, all they want to do is sleep. It did not help. They started having more children. That just made them, because of all the strain and the pressure on them, it just made them increase even more because that's all they did was, make babies. That's all they had time for. Work and having babies, doing what it takes to have babies. But they did not understand why they would go back. Once they go home, why they go back? They would go back to work every day, according to the scripture. They would go back to work every day without pay. Without pay. Which is not good because I don't understand how they could do that when they were the children of the Most High. So while they were in this bondage, this beginning bondage, and this way of life that was strange to them, the Lord began to remember them. But while he was remembering them, they were still continuing to oppress them. So while the Most High was remembering these the Israelites, they still were being oppressed and treated very badly. Like it started increasing and increasing and increasing even the more because of the fear that these people would grow and overcome the whole entire Egypt, which they probably would, because just one, when Joseph was reigning there, he was in a positive uh, relationship with the Egyptians, though. But he ran the whole thing. No one could beat Joseph, according to the scripture. None of Egypt, not even even Pharaoh respected him so much that he even put him above his own son in rank because he knew Joe. There was nobody who could do it like Joseph. No one who could defeat. They said Joseph went around to all the surrounding cities and conquered them all. So he and his son Manasseh wasn't no joke either. They had. I'll tell you about that one later when him and his uncle had a little interaction. That they both did the same thing, like a mighty man's challenge or whatever, and it was very funny. But you'll figure it out. But the point is, how did we become slaves in America? Same way. It's the same way we became our people became slaves in Egypt. This is why people say, that the Israelites are Africans. They're not Africans. African was not a country. It was not the whole land. It was not Africa. Period. It was a small place just like everywhere else, because if you read even in the Holy Bible, in all the scriptures you find, you will see that they said these lands were called by their names, and then unless their name was Africa, then there was no there it wasn't Africa. Africa was a slave name, if you ask me, because I learned about that years ago, where there was one of the slave owners who name had Africa in it, it's Africanus or something like that. And that's probably where they got that name from. And because the original black lands were named by the name of our forefathers, our real forefathers, are the true forefathers of the earth. That's what those lands were called. And it probably was called Black Land. Like one of the maps I found, they call it Negro Land. Yeah, you better look that up. I have a map that I found online that they called it Negro Land. Now they tried to okay, so the reason why they committed all this hard labor against Israel's, making them work for free, um, oppressing them, smiting them when they wanted to refuse, and working them all day almost till like almost the whole 24 hours, is because they were hoping that they could decrease them in numbers, their people. They won't have sex, they won't have no more babies. They'll make all the ones that are there, when they grow up and be big enough to work, they'll make them work with them. But that doesn't make sense. But they wanted to eradicate Israelites. They didn't want to keep them. They just wanted to use them. They were afraid if they started just outright. But I'm like, you put them in slavery, you're oppressing them, you're smiting them. Like, how much fear do you really have? To do something like that. That right there was enough to get your butt kicked. Yeah, it was. But they didn't call on God at that time, and they didn't fight them either. So I don't understand. I was like, maybe it's because they had children there, women there, and that was their home. Goshen was their home, and that was in the land of um, Egypt. So maybe they just was trying to keep the peace. It don't explain that part. Those pieces are missing, and I'm pretty sure they were included. If everything else was included, I'm pretty sure that was included with it too. But there's a lot of stuff that's missing, and you have to know. Now, they not only started oppressing the people, the men. Eventually, they started killing their sons when they had started having babies, and there were all these, young boys being born, because the Most High said He was going to multiply the sons of Jacob. So that's what He started doing, even in their oppression. And there was all these sons. So they said, well, the king asked his counselors what he should do about it, because he was like, we oppressed them and they're growing even more. They said, let's kill the sons when they're born at birth. So they ordered some housewives to come, and the midwives to come. He said, when the babies are born, and if there is a male child, murder the child. So they're trying to order the midwives to murder these boys. That's why you got some, what you call them, nuns, who were murdering kids. Part of their Edomite ways, murdering children because they were ordered to. So some of them got into the habit of doing, and just doing it naturally because they sick ways. So they did that, and but the midwives wouldn't do it. At that time the midwives feared God, so they was like, we're not going to kill their children. So they didn't, and the king found out about it and was like, why didn't you kill them? Why are they growing? What's going on? Like, didn't we tell you to kill these men? When they were born. So they was like, when they told them, we don't deliver their babies. They deliver their own babies. They just made up all kind of stuff. But they feared God, so they did anything to keep the king from doing anything, killing them. So they just made up stuff, as they went along. And what else happened? So they said, well, some advisors told them, we don't want the blood on our hands, because they see that every plan that they created, God is working around that plan and causing it to fail. So they start noticing that, and they said, well, dang, nothing we do is working. God is with them. He's helping them increasing the land. So what do we do? Well, how do we win? How do we get the victory over Israel? So he said, the people counseled the king and said, let not their blood be on our hands. Let not their blood be on our hands. Let's just throw them in the river. This is where the river comes from. Throwing our babies, our people's babies in rivers, and eventually feeding them to alligators as bait, trying to catch an alligator. But you have to know the foundation of some of these things. Um, so they threw them in the river, and what happened was the Most High sent an angel to protect. He started sending angel to protect these babies. So they start increasing even more. Like, so the king is like, how the heck is this happening? But what the Most High did was, excuse me, excuse me, what the Most High did was, when they start throwing the babies in the river, let me be specific. The Most High buried the babies in the dirt. He fed them, first of all. He fed them. I'm going to tell you exactly what it said. It said, and the Lord who has sworn to their ancestors, this is in the book of Jasher, chapter 67, 55, and it goes down to about 59. But this is what he did. He said, he sent one of his ministering angels, which are in heaven, to wash each child in water, to anoint and swab it, and put it into its hands two smooth stones. So he took stones. First of all, he took them out of the water. He took two smooth stones. The one was for honey, and the other one was for milk. Let's look at the power of the Most High to comfort the babies and feed them. And then he ordered his earth to receive them until the time of their growing, which the earth opened its mouth and vomit them out. He told them to vomit them forth, and they sprouted forth from. So they went back home. Once they were a certain age, they knew who their parents were and everything. After all these years of being in the ground, they went home. So the people were like, "What the?" And it's like the parents knew that they were their children. It's very amazing just to hear about how it all went. And I believe these things happen because you can't make up stuff like this. And I remember in the beginning when Abel died, Cain's brother, when Cain killed his brother Abel, and Cain tried to put him in the earth. This was the very first death the earth ever, the earth. Someone tried to bury it in the dirt, a death that went into the earth. And the earth spit him out 3 times. He tried to bury him, the earth spit him out. He buried him, the earth spit him out. He buried him, the earth spit him out. And he was like, what the heck? Because he was trying to hide it, but the earth would not let him hide his body inside of him. He spit him out. So the same thing. The earth is in command of the Most High. The earth knows the order of the Most High. So if you put something in earth and it don't belong in the earth, this is they're gonna spit it out. This is why they make movies like you've probably seen. I've seen movies where things are in the earth and it comes spitting out like something bring it out of the earth. We've seen all kind of movies like that growing up, so no different today. The point is, Egypt did all these horrible things to the people of Israel because they feared them because of the 150 men who defeated all those thousands of men by themselves. And then because not only that, the fear of them seeing how they was powerful against all these men and how the Israelites acted cunningly towards them when they abandoned the Israelites, they started killing the ones that the Egyptians that were lingering behind. And then they brought this hard bondage on the Israelites, hoping to destroy them, but it didn't destroy them. It just made them stronger. And the plan that the Most High set out for them was accomplished. And that's why later on, even after all this trying to murder, Pharaoh had a dream after all this murdering the kids, the children, and everything, and said this time after this dream he started murdering the women and the boys. So the boys and the girls, not just the boys anymore, because he heard that one of them was going to grow up and basically overthrow their kingdom. So it didn't matter who he started killing after that. And they still succeeded because that's how Moses became king of Egypt, or the son of Egypt. His mother put him in the water instead of letting them kill him. Some of the babies still died, even though God saved some of them still died. But Moses' mom put him in the water in an ark, a little made up ark, and pushed him out there. And the Most High caused a heat to be so overbearing that even the water where they usually would take their baths and drink was so hot and boiling hot that they wouldn't even touch it. So they would go to the river. But see, the reason why that water was cool is because the babies were in it, and Moses was in the river. So this is why these places were still cool. So the daughter of Pharaoh at that time went into the river to take a bath because their normal place was boiling hot. And that's how she came across Moses. She came across Moses while she was taking her bath. And someone heard him crying. She told one of her servants to go get the baby. And when she brought the baby to him, she fell in love with him. She told them to suck the baby, give them suckling, what they call it, and milk the baby. The baby refused everybody that she tried to get to suck. So the sister was near. His sister was around when it happened. So she said, "You want me to go get one of the other women?" Which she went and got her mother to feed him. So she ended up raising her own son while he was still being raised by Pharaoh's daughter. So they overcame anyways. Basically, that's the point. But the point is, this is how slavery started. It started with the hate and fear of the Egyptians, So everybody think that we're Africans. We're not Africans. We're not African Americans. We didn't come from Africa. Those same people who um, the world is trying to say we are descendants of are the ones who enslaved us. They are the ones who sold us to America because of their fear of us. And I'm pretty sure when America told them how they built cities for them, I mean, when Egyptians told the Americans how, not even, they weren't probably even American at that time, they were probably in other places, but when they told these Edomites how strong we were, and how they used us to build things for them, they wanted that same free labor. And that's how we ended up in America, involved in a free labor, um I don't even know what to call that, free labor oppression, a free labor plight, because it was destroying our people, it was destroying our lives, it was destroying everybody, our families, the women, men, and children. So it was a free labor, something weird that they decided, conjured up, which ended up bringing us here to America. So we are not Africans. And that was the first slavery, you know, that, and they were delivered, like the Most High said, when you are for him, who can be against you? And it looks bad. So the point is, it looked very bad at that time because of what they were going through, but the whole time the Most High was for them. And this was before the going away from God. They didn't really go away from God at this time, doing what the enemy was doing, or doing what the heathens and the Gentiles were practicing. They were just living their lives and ended up in slavery. So they weren't like doing anything to piss God off at that time, not nothing heavy to piss him off at that time. At least it wasn't written. Later on, how we ended up in America, I'm pretty sure that's how we ended up in America, is because we started practicing the way of the heathen and the Gentiles. Maybe because of all this oppression, but we ended up getting out of that. So I don't get it. There's so many missing pieces though. But I'll get to that. I found some of the links because it tells you in different books. I didn't want to get into too many books because it would take too long, and I didn't want to be all day because I know people attention span. Everybody, I know my attention span for certain things is just shot, but I guess everybody got ADHD, huh? Because we all have our moments where we give our attention to things, and then some things we lose our attention. So your attention is lost. Just know that we're not African American, period. We're not African at all. And even some of the people in Africa are not Africans. They were, if you go back to their original man and woman, they wouldn't be Africans. Africa was not the motherland, but it's called Africa today, but it was not called Africa then. That is the land of the first man and woman, or is it, or did, according to the Bible, like the Most High told, where was the original land? Because it was not where we think it is. When the Most High told Noah before this flood, or after the flood, he told him either before the flood or after the flood, I can't recall exactly, but he told him to go to the middle of the earth. He was ordered to go to the middle of the earth. So that means he went from somewhere to another place. And that's when all of these children started creating their own land. They were wherever the north of the Garden of Eden is, or the south of the Garden of Eden is, that's where they started off. And then they migrated to the middle of the earth. So people are telling the story however they feel, not exactly how it's written. I'm not going to tell you anything different other than what I find. Unless the Most High give me a vision or give me a dream that shows me something different, then I'm gonna give you the word exactly how I find it, not making it up in my own way. So you can find all of this information about the in the lost books of, what do they call it? Forgotten books of Eden. They call it the lost books of the Bible, and the forgotten books of Eden. But and then there's the Apocrypha. They also call them sometimes the lost books of the Bible. Then you got your Holy Bible. They all link together. The only differences that I've been finding is that, like, when it comes to Esau, they You don't hear in this book, right here, you don't hear nothing about Esau. You don't. If you have a phone and you have a Bible on your phone, type in the name Esau and see what comes up. Not much is going to pop up. Why is that? Esau was important, and he wasn't important to the point where he was one of the saved. He was going to be one of the chosen of the Most High, because the Most High, he was important because he was hated. It's important to know that the Most High did not like him. He did not. So the world can quit saying that the Most High loved everybody, because he shows you, and many times he don't. He don't. He don't love everybody. He don't. We are all his creation, and he, like he told Adam, when Adam started having children and filling the earth, and he saw how messed up the children were, he was like, he don't like them. He told him, you better look in the get this book right. Get this book right here. He told him he do not. If it he said, I don't like your children. He only liked Adam. He did not like his creation. You can get this book right here. hmm It's called The Lost Book, the Bible, and the Forgotten Books of Eden. This is one book, but don't just go verbatim. You got to have the spirit. You got to know how to. You got to be awake. Basically, this is another book that I have. I just found these books. I didn't have these books. I just got these books. I didn't. I don't think I even had them a month. So here are some books for you to look at and check out. I would advise you to get a different one, because this one is altered. This is the one. This one, some people were true about it. They even got some. Watch this. Let me show you in this book real quick. This is this book right here. Let me show you real quick. I know I'm going over my hour, but let me show you something. Let me show you a couple of pictures, images. They got white and black images in here, though. It ain't just they put black images. They put the. Let me show you the image of the portrayer. They're not really black. They're like white and black, but they're not colored, so they're like black and white. But you know what they're trying to say. Look. Oops, my book is falling apart because I stretched it too far. Let me see if you can see this. This is an image of their Christ in here. See that? I can't even do it right because oh, my hand is in the way. Now you tell me, do that look like a white man to you? They put it in this book. I don't know how I found this book. I just wanted to have the book just in case, World War III starts, then I'll have something to read. Instead of depending on my device, I'll have books, because when that war kick off, and hopefully I'll be able to keep my books, so I can grab my books. Hopefully I don't forget them when it goes down. But that's just one book. So this one was a picture of the resurrection of Christ, and let me show you one. Who did they call him? Moses, or you'll see they wrote this book. This was A&B religion. They knew the truth. They know the truth. All the people they got, like I said, I guess where they couldn't find some black images, then they filled it in with some white looking images, like one of Moses. And now let me tell you this before I go. I'm gonna get into this later, but I just want to give you. I always like to give you something to think about. So my point was to show you in this video how slavery started. So it started with the Egyptians oppressing the Israelites. So don't think it was a white man who started slavery, because it wasn't. Now some people are going to say black people who are for. I'm for black people. I am. I don't have to prove that to nobody. If you don't see it, then I'm not going to worry about it. But I would not make up stuff and try to. I don't. First of all, I'm not going to make white people look good for nothing, because they don't look good for nothing. But I don't hate them. But I'm about telling the truth, no matter what it's seems like to anyone, or what you want it to be. I'm going to tell the truth how the Most High puts it on me. And that's the way it's going to be. And I'm for my people, but like I said, if you think about it, we're all family. Just because one is cursed don't mean we're not family. Yeah, you are cursed brothers and sisters, but you still are family. But the darker ones, the blessed ones, the holy ones, those are the chosen by the Most High. The ones that are dark skinned are chosen people. Some of them just pissed the Most High off, and their skin became what they call leprosy, and that's where you get your white family from. That's what the difference in color was. And then when they start mingling, having babies, this is where you got all these other races. There's only two people that was only different colors, and that was the so-called whites and the so-called blacks. There was no other people. So that means out of all these people around us that we see, these Mexicans, these Chinese, these Russians, these Germans, these everything, they're all white and black people. there is no this is the confusion of the devil to make you think everybody's different. If that's how the devil operates. This is to how you bring confusion amongst people, is because you make them think they're all separate and different and from different backgrounds, and they're not. If you look in history, you can see the same facial features of every race that we see today on all the black people, the original black people. You will see some of them looking like Asians. And they're black people. They're not Asian. They're black people, and you will see their faces and images and their features of all people today on all those images of those people. That's where they come from. And the reason why their skin is lighter is because of the cursed brothers, the cursed children. That's why their skin is like that. They're cursed. They try to flip it and tell you that the black skin is cursed. No, it's the white skin that's cursed. The only white skin of us that is not cursed is the albino. It's a difference. Because one was to purify and the other one was to be cursed, to separate you from our holiness, our anointing, our favor, our grace. And it did. If you pay attention to the scriptures, you'll see that Edomites, Esau's children, they went through a lot. They suffered. They were evil. They were going around doing all kind of things. They thought they were mightier. They thought they were stronger. They even said it. Like, we're stronger than them. Let's go kill Jacob and his sons. Like they thought they were the boss. And they got destroyed by the children of Jacob. Praise Yah, the darker skin. But you got to know where we come from. You got to know how we ended up on this part of the land. This is not white America. This is God's America. This whole land, that's what people need to stop looking at it like it's a man who this stuff belongs to. All this is the Most High's, the Creator. Everything belongs to Him, including you. You got to know. And if this is what's going to send people, this is what causes people to suffer on this earth, and this is what causes people who's going to suffer later, because of their lack of knowledge, is what he called it. He said, my people are suffering because of a lack of knowledge. You don't understand nothing. You don't have understanding. You have information. Knowledge and information are two different things. You can read every book in the world and still don't know nothing. You don't have no knowledge to know. Knowledge to know. You need to know what you've learned. You have to understand what you learned. You could be taught. This is why a lot of people are brainwashed, because they don't have knowledge. They have information. These TVs are information, and then what you think this information that they put on TV is doing to you is programming you. If you want some knowledge so you can get some understanding, then you can get some wisdom, then you need to come to the light. You need to come to the truth. You need to quit closing your mind and say, I don't want to hear that, and continuing to live this dream you live in. If you want to be free, you need to wake up out of this matrix. This same thing, why did I mention this, how slavery started? Because I'm telling you, it started then, and it came to America, it went to the Caribbeans, it went to Haiti, it went to Jamaica, it went to all these places. So our brothers and sisters are not just in America. There's some still in what we call Africa today. There's some in Haiti. There's some in Jamaica. There's some in the Caribbeans. There's some in Cuba, in Colombia. There's some in Mexico. Our people, they took our people all across. When they went in the waters, they didn't just come to this land. They went to all the lands that were surrounding those places. America wasn't even the first place where slavery hit. It hit other places before it came here. But the time frame that the Most High was relating to about slavery and our people, when he told Abraham that your children are going to be enslaved for 400 years, the time, that 400-year period of time, and God is not a God who's not with order. He's full of order. So when he say 400 years, according to our time, he mean exactly that. Not 405 days, not 400 in a week or 10 days or a month or another extra year. He means 400, period. We the only people who've been here for 400 years this year. But that's only if we got the date in order, because they have manipulated time and the dates. You have to know. I don't believe that the year is going to end until next year, because March is the beginning of the year, according to the scriptures, not January. This is why we need knowledge. We need our own people to bring the truth. There's a lot of our people out here who know the truth and who's not speaking it, but some of them are, and we need to unite. We have to come together and bring it together, and we can destroy this enemy. I'm telling you, you got to know. If one can do it, overcome, what do you think all of us can do together? We need to stop being silly and foolish and focusing on things that's killing us. Remember that spiral of death that I told you that this world is a part of? Worrying about things that do not help you live. You say you love your life. I hear it all the time. I'm loving my life. I'm loving this person's life. But ask yourself, is your health together? That's life. Health is your life. Not how much money you make. Not how many cars you can drive, not how many houses you can have, not how many clothes, how many outfits, how much makeup you can pile up on your face, how many women you can sleep with, how many men you can lay with, how many babies you can have. None of that matters if your health and your life is not in order. Your health is your life. This body in good condition is life. This being awake out of the slumber of this matrix of this world that this devil has got the people in is life. You've got to know. Life ain't what you think it is. That's a part of the brainwashing. If you see it on TV, having cars, money, jewelry, houses, sleeping with women and men, and all this weird stuff that we don't need to, all this stuff, it's not life. It's death. All of it leads you to death, except having children, of course, unless you just have a weak body and you have a child and your body's not strong enough and that baby pulls everything from you and kills you to get that baby here, then that's different. But that means your body wasn't strong enough. But everybody's body is not that strong. Everybody was not made to have babies. Everybody's not supposed to be here for that purpose. Some people are here to teach. Some people are here to keep the nations growing. Some people are here for the work, the labor. Some people, everybody have a different purpose. But since the world is being confused with the BS, they don't understand those things. You don't understand that everybody has a purpose to help out in this life cycle. And right now, everybody's helping out in this death cycle. Not everybody, because I'm no longer on the death cycle no more. And if I do die, it's because of coming out of 40 years of living the death cycle. And it'll be the Most High's will, no one else's. It's His will and His will alone in my life, not Satan's no more. It's the Most High's will. So my message to the people is, I do care. I do love you. I don't care what nobody says. Sometimes I don't smile at people because I know they're trying to come up against me in the worst way. And I am a warrior. I'm not going to deny it. I will fight for me. I will. And everything that I'm speaking to you, I will fight for. I will. I am. I'm not that I will. I am. And I have the Most High on my side. So whatever happens to me, it is His will, because I trust in my Creator. And I mean that. I don't, sometimes my body feels weak, but I still get up like it's strong. Sometimes I want to cry, but I hold it back because I know I have a fight to continue. You know what I mean? People who don't have knowledge will never understand it, but people with knowledge do understand the truth. We do understand our value. We do understand that, yes, we need to smile, yes, but sometimes we need to put that folly away and be serious about things. Because that same folly that everybody wants to party and be ha 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 all day long, that's the same Sambo they created in America. And if you don't know what Sambo is, why don't you look it up? That silly black man that they made fun of they painted his face black, and all he did was laugh and jiggle and giggle all day and act like a party, just like everybody's doing today. Mocking us, making a fool of us. That's why I said, yes, there's nothing wrong with living your life and enjoying your life. There's a way to do everything. But we have this kind of this Sambo personality when we partying sometimes, and we got to know the difference. And it's like, if we don't smile for white people and all these other races around us, whites, Mexicans, and Germans, and Russians, and all these other things around us, they're not comfortable. If we're not acting like Sambo, they're not comfortable with us. They don't like who we are, because who we are shows the God in us, and they are afraid when they see our true selves, our seriousness. When they see this, they're afraid. When they see this, they feel comfortable. I don't care about your comfort. You didn't care about our comfort when you dragged us over here and enslaved our people. And even in 2019, how you still oppress our people, how you still murder our men, how you still murder our women, how you still murdering our children. And the people around here are so dumb and blind and foolish. Forgive me, Father, because I don't like to be negative, but there is no good way to say it. Are asleep thinking that everything is okay, talking about you living your best life. You could be the one next on their list while you're living your best life, if you don't know. These people have a lottery, if you don't know. They randomly pick names and people to mess with, if you don't know. This is why we have to unite as a nation, starting mentally. We don't have to all move into a town together. We have to start mentally. It don't matter if we come together as one if we're not together mentally. We have to all, first of all, start acknowledging, hey, you are my brother and my sister. I need to respect and honor you as that. I need to talk right with you. I need to treat you right. I need to help you by any means necessary. Not going to one of their, and I'm not talking about help. See, people get mixed up with help. They get help mixed up with what really needs to be used in this life. Help. I'm not talking about going to their schools. I'm not talking about anything that got to do with this system. I'm talking about creating our own system. When you ask me to help create our own, then I'm willing to help. If you ask me to participate in anything that got to do with this deaf system, I'm not too anxious to help. I'm not going to lie. So I may say I'm not going to participate because first of all, I don't have money to throw away, and I'm not going to help you encourage their nothing. If it doesn't, the only reason why I shop at their stores, the ones that I do, is because our people don't have them. If my people had a store here and all the things that I buy that I need, I would buy. And believe me, I have backed up from buying a lot of stuff from their stores too. So if my people get some places that I can shop at, then I'll shop there. I don't buy the weave, so I'm sorry, Black people, if I don't support you on those things. I don't wear fake nails no more. I can do my own nails, but I don't support that because I'm not. That's poison to my hands. The hair is poison to my brain. I need to. I'm backing away from anything that can cause sickness to my body. And anything else you have that I may need, if it's natural, I will support you. You can post it on here, show it online. I've seen it. But if I research it and it links back to being owned by one of these devils, I'm not supporting you. Because that means you get a small percentage and they get the bigger percentage. I'm fully motivated on supporting my people. Do any of my people have some property? They need someone to rent their house. I'm living where I have to right now, but I'm trying to support my people. This is why the white people in the government, the police, and all these people in this country, USA and across this land, hate Black people like me. And it ain't about us being rich or poor. It's our richness in our minds, our knowledge, our richness right here that they don't to affect the rest of the world. Because if it does and you wake up, they lose. Checkmate, game over. You don't realize that they playing a game with our lives. But once you wake up, it's checkmate, baby. It's checkmate for them. Game over. They won't have nobody to play with no more. You understand? You've got to know the truth. And the reason why I made this video about the first time where slavery started is because that's where it started. We're still in slavery in America in 2010. They just changed the place, called it a prison. They just put it at low income paying jobs. There, when a Black person and a white person, I'm gonna just say white and Black, because to me, if your skin is dark, you Black, and I don't care where you come from. If your skin is so-called white, you're white. So I'm not going to separate them by nations, even though I know we are separated by nations. But I'm going to say it to be in general. If you go in a job and you white, your chances are higher of getting a job if you go in there and you're Black. If you go into a hospital and you're sick, your chances of being saved and you're dying, your chances of being saved are higher if you're white and then you're Black. If I'm just being real. If the police pull you over and you're Black and white, your chances of being let go because you're white is most definitely higher than being Black. You're liable to die being Black just from being pulled over. So this is happening in 2019. So people want to say racism is over. Then, Lord, I'm trying to not use any bad language, but I want to say you. I'm going to tell you straight up. You know what? I'm not even going to try to think that. But you know, whatever you want to put before the you. I'm real with my truth. I'm not ashamed to say it. I don't care what they try to do. They have tried to destroy my life to tell this truth. That's what you don't know. And not just mine. I have been, like I said, I've been researching people. Look online. People are online telling the truth, and things are happening to their lives because they're telling you the truth. You can sit in the dark all you want, but don't think the darkness is not going to touch you. Being asleep is not going to save you. Ignoring the truth is not going to save you. It's not. So if you think that, you only deceiving yourself and you have a state of mind of the devil, because that's exactly what he does. He deceives himself. He has deceived the world. He's still deceiving the world because they still believing in these lies. That his followers, his seeds are projected out here. Stop watching TV all day. Yeah, watch it once in a while. Turn it off sometimes, though. Turn off your phone because there's magnetic impulses coming right at you all day long. And if you don't know, it affects your brain. It puts you up under some type of mind control, some spell. Unless you are anointed, you come up out of that, you awake, then you won't know the difference. You won't feel it. You won't feel the attacks. This is why you get sick. This is why people getting sick. This is why people getting diseases. This is why people getting illnesses. This is why people getting brain tumors, cancer, brain cancers, breast cancer, throat cancer, tumors in your, all kind of, the Lord rebuke all that stuff. And we bind it up in the name of the Most High Yah. We bind and cast it all out before us. And I'm not speaking this over nobody's life, but I'm just telling you because you won't get it if I don't say it. Even simple problems that, let me tell you something real quick. If you got black toenails, they're putting stuff in your shoes. You don't get black toenail. How do you get a black toenail? If you didn't grow up with a black toenail. I'm telling you because I know, because they did it to me. They put ammonia in all my shoes, especially my sneakers, anything with a closed covering. And it tried to change my color of my toenails. Until I start caring for it. And I paid attention to what was going on around me. They especially attack our black men because they would especially like diabetes. They try to say high blood pressure, diabetes, all these things. So when they try to kill our people, they'll say these are the reasons that they died. When it's not that they're dying from sicknesses, they're dying because they're being murdered. They're being murdered. And they're using sicknesses and illnesses and diseases as the reason to cover up their murder. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm willing to die for my people today because I am my people. I am one of those people. So hell yeah, I'm ready to die for it. Because they trying to attack me too. That means if they're attacking you, they're attacking me too. I love myself, so I'm willing to die for me. Are you willing to die for you? You need to get up out of the closet. I'm trying to tell you it's coming. It's coming, baby. And you're going to have to choose. And taking a side, woe to you. If you taking a side today and you decide when fear come your way, when that spark come in the sky and you see the truth and everybody wake up and you decide to go with the enemy, woe to you. Woe to you right now. For those who don't fight for the black people who's black, and woe to you when the end comes, because we're going to destroy you with the enemy. You're going down with them. Yes, you're all going down. Because you're supposed to love yourself. How can you men say you love yourself? You don't love yourself. You don't respect your women who had you. You don't respect the same face who bore you out of their body, who carried you and brought you into this world. You don't love yourself. You want to go marry somebody who you want to go outside of who your mother is and marry something because you think it's better. You don't love yourself. You don't know what love is if you say you love that rat. You don't love yourself. You don't like your kids because they look like you. So you go out and try to have a dog kid. Like, you don't love yourself. That goes for the women too. You want to go marry something because you think they're better because their skin is cursed. And you want your kid to have long hair. You don't love yourself. Do you know the only reason why you think our hair don't grow is because they're poisoning our hair? Our hair grows just as long as anyone else's, if not longer. The reason why our hair is not growing the way it should grow is because they're poisoning our waters. It's poisoning our hair. Or everything you eat, that's poison. All the water we drink, that's poison. Everything in the air that we breathe, that's poison, is affecting our hair, our looks, our forms, our body, our health overall. And if you don't know, you're about to find out, baby, because the time is up. I've been telling you, what the Most High has put on me. And I'm telling you today, slavery is not over. Because even though the clock is running out for these enemies of the Most High clock, time is up. Your time is like at its last. This is the last year. And like I said, the beginning of the year starts in March, not January. So between 2020, something should start happening. Because after this year, that's the mark. Unless they alter the time in the book, like they alter everything else. Unless they change the time or rewrote the time. But I've seen that same number in more than one book. So I'm still searching. And if I find anything different, I will let you know, definitely. But according to the books that I found, they all say the same time. 400 years. Yes. And we've been here for 400 years according to their record. 1619, 2019. So we're going to start seeing some change. I already saw the shift in the atmosphere before, as we were approaching the 400 mark. My shift happened in 2006. Now, some people woke up before that. Some people woke up after that. My whole state of consciousness shifted in 2006. I just didn't know that's what it was until I start being filled up with more truth. And the Most High was opening my eyes to more truth. And then I start acknowledging, but it still took time for me to get it. It took a few more years for me to get it. It took a few years for me to realize that I was awakened. So there's been things happening, and he's been sending, there's been prophecies being spoken, and those prophecies are coming to life. Like I said in my song, don't be caught standing with an idle mouth. Don't get caught standing with an idle mouth. I know you don't understand my music, but my music is truth. It ain't no imaginary or made up stuff. My stuff is speaking what's real life. I don't play no game. That's probably why it will never make it big to the big times, because it's too real. All my music is way real. Everything I speak, real. And it ain't no sadness to it. It's all being just truthful. It ain't good or bad. It's just truth. But I care for you, my people. You've got to know that our Black men are the target. They have always been the target because they're the most powerfulest of this world. But they have oppressed us. Remember, I showed you they oppressed them, they smote them, and all of a sudden, if 150 men defeated thousands of men, how did they go from being courageous to fearful? I don't know why they didn't call on the Most High at that time, but I can tell you why it's happening today. Biochemical warfare. That's one. And how do I say it when it's got something to do with electronic warfare today? So biochemical and electronic warfare today, 2019, is attacking your mind, and you don't know it. And this is the shame, because we're so mixed in, we're so integrated with these demons around us, all these evil ass people around us who don't care about nothing because they don't have no soul and they don't have no heart. So they are willing. I mean all the people outside of Black people when I speak, and I mean that with a passion. They are helping each other poison us at work. While you at work on your desk typing, minding your business, and people walking past you, they spraying stuff at your hair. They're spraying stuff at your spine. These are your important parts of your body, your back and your brain, because these two right here affects everything. You can't walk if you ain't got no spine. You can't think if you don't have a brain. I'm not going to get all in detail about all that right now, but I'm just throwing stuff at you that I know. This is what the Most High is putting on me. I was only supposed to do like a 30-minute video. I'm telling you. I'll be like waiting a while because I'm like, I'm giving them too much, Father. They ain't gonna be ready. This milk. They need the bottle, not a cup. They need a bottle, not a cup, because they ain't ready for it all right now. But this is what obviously he knows somebody ready because he got me going. He's got me going. And I love you. I do. I love myself. I love you. I wouldn't do this if I didn't love you, because I could have just stayed into myself and just dealt with this like I've been doing, like I was doing for all these years before. Hell yeah, I need my people. When I know what's going on with us, what if they kill all of y'all and because of the lack of knowledge and I'm the only one here? You think I want to be here by myself with these devils? No. So heck yeah, I'm going to call my people. I need my people. I don't care what any demonic minded sleep person say. I need my people. I do. We need our unity in our mind and in our physics. We need it all, baby. If you only knew why they did what they did to us, they did, like I'm bridging a gap. I told you about the slavery because I wanted you to see the same thing that was happening to our people back then. That showed you who we come from. That shows you who we come from, who we're descendants of. We were the only people who did not know where we come from, because everybody trying to tell us we come from Africa. We're not African. Africans sold us to these devils in America. They didn't sell their own people. Today, they people come over here willingly, free. They get more respect than we do. And we've been here. They allow them to have stores for years. If we get a store, they shut our stores down. While everybody think that we just been here lazy. It ain't because we're lazy. It's because these devils hinder us at every turn we make. And I can't stand when our people speak against our own people because of their dumb ignorance. Because their lack of knowledge. So they think like these white devils and all these Mexican devils and all these Jews devils and all these devils of this world. They think just like them. They hate us just like them. But you hate yourself. But there is coming, not going to come, but there is coming, baby, a time really soon where you're going to eat those words, eat your thoughts. And you will be rejected, because I hope I remember everything for everybody who went against us, because I'm going to be one of them judges. And I'm putting you down, baby. You ain't welcome. All you are that are against our people, you're not welcome. I'm telling you today, because I'm going to be there and I'm going to remember everything. And you're not welcome. I'm not going to wait till it comes. I'm telling you now. You treating me like I'm not welcome now, you're not welcome later. When my Father turned this around. You're not welcome even today with me. You're not. I don't smile at you. I don't care. I'm not going to smile and kiss your ass. No, I'm not. I don't. And I won't. Yea, though I walk, not run, walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For the greater is in me than he. All these devils around me that are in this world. And I will have the courage and the strength that he told me to have. He said, do not fear. So when you hear fear throughout these scriptures, that is not God speaking. That is Satan and his deception, because every angel that came from God and every word that came out of God says, do not fear. This is why you need to be awake, and you need knowledge, not information. Being informed is different from having the knowledge. Information is being informed. Anybody can inform you of anything, and it doesn't make it true. But when you have knowledge, that means you know yourself. No one can change your mind. I'm ready for war. Praise God. I'm ready to fight for Israel. Hallelujah. The real Hebrew Israelites, the black Hebrew Israelites. Hallelujah. Fired up and ready to go. Yeah. Hallelujah. I was only supposed to be on here real quick. Okay, my brothers and my sisters. Let me tell you this scripture before I go. Hallelujah. I love all of you who came to watch, and I pray that each one of you get the message and it touches your soul in the way it should be received. And I pray that you share it with another black soul, another black soul. Every soul that we get the knowledge to and awaken is another one who can live. That's why it's important. Every soul that is awake is a soul that can be saved from death in this life and eternal. Now, let me tell you one more thing that I had wrote. Excuse me. Now all the stuff coming up on me. Now that I'm getting it out, I don't care. I'm about to get it out. My nose, everything coming out. It's coming out. So I have put this together real quick. Let me give you this scripture. Deuteronomy. He said, Deuteronomy chapter 7:21. This is way before the first slavery. He said, it was a prophecy though. And he said, thou shalt not be affrighted at them. For thy Lord, thy Yah, is among you, a mighty. Let me get this right. Hold on. I can't mess this up. You got to receive it. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 21. Thou shalt not be affrighted at them. For the Lord thy Yah is among you, a mighty Yah, a terrible. Oh, hallelujah. And what they say, God is all nice and kind. If you only seen God face to face, you would lose your mind just because of the fear. Talking about he's all patient and kind. And he looked like that devil in these pictures everybody got posted in their churches, on their websites, and their homes. You are idolizing something that don't even exist, except that was a homosexual. That's who you idolizing, a homosexual. Every picture you praise, you're praising a homosexual. I'm going to tell you the truth, my brothers and sisters. When you got that picture, I don't have one because I would never have that picture. I wish I could put it up real quick. But if you have that picture of that so-called Jesus, you are idolizing and worshiping a homosexual. That's who you raising up as your God. I don't care who gets offended because I'm speaking the truth. I don't care about how you feel about my truth. Oh, excuse me. My bad. But you're idolizing. Oh my gosh, all this stuff on my nose. I'm gonna have to take a shower anyway. You're idolizing a homosexual. And I don't want anyone to get all emotional, but truth is truth. And if you don't like the truth, then you should not do what you do. You should not let the truth offend you. If it offends you, that means something you're doing is not right. Anyone who is offended by truth need to correct their own soul, not the person who's speaking the truth, but it's you yourself that needs to be corrected, reproved. Hallelujah. Praise Yah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because those who say the truth is wrong, that means that they hate the truth because everything they do must be wrong. Praise Yah. You got to know the truth. But let me go. What was I going to tell you before I go? I want to tell you the truth. You don't even know. Whew, let me tell you this. No more value. I mean, say no morals, no values is going on around here right now. We're in another Sodom and Gomorrah at this point in our lives. This is how we know the end is coming anyway. Because we're at Sodom and Gomorrah, they have raised up homosexuality as the president of the world and as an idol, something to idolize. It's on TV now. It's ridiculous. It's out of control. I don't even want to watch TV no more because it's just ridiculous. You know, things that are precious, we treat as if they come a dime a dozen. And the things that do come a dime a dozen, we treat as if they're precious when we shouldn't. Is backwards, you know what's righteous, and we should be respecting what is righteous, loyal, honest, loving, family, friends, and our children, our grandparents. You get what I'm saying. Instead, we're worshiping and praising money, houses, cars, jewelry, and all these perishable things that can just deteriorate, burn up, if in a fire, just burn away. You know, all these things that don't really mean nothing, that can easily be replaced. People cannot be easily replaced. Values and morals cannot be easily replaced. You have to grow up with these things. If you don't grow up with these things, then it's almost impossible to have it because you would never understand it, depending on the life that you grew up living. And if you weren't taught these things, it's hard to go to these things. It takes everything in you to do this. And if you don't have discipline to do it, then you will never have it. So this is why it's important to teach the children while they're young these things, so it can already be instilled in them, instilled in us. But people are not getting it. But anyways, I'm going to say a prayer. I didn't mean to get all into all that. I was just supposed to talk about why we were in sleep. I pray that you get some understanding though. But I pray all praise be to the Most High Yah, the creator of the heaven and the earth. We pray together. I want us to say we, so I don't sound like I'm being selfish or self-will, but we pray that you will receive our prayer and grant our requests, Father Most High Yah, creator of the heaven and the earth. We ask for courage and strength each day you bless us with to go through whatever lies ahead. We ask for safe, peaceful rest when our day is accomplished. Father, keep us in good health and provide every basic need, safe and clean water, food, shelter, air, and covering for our bodies. We put our trust in you, Creator, to be our guide through this darkness. Let not any of your people who you have called and all your people who you will bring out of the darkness, let not one of us be deceived by wickedness nor any guile hearts. Protect us from all temptation of evil, seen and unseen. We ask you, Father, to keep us with your hedge, your grace. Be merciful, show compassion. Lead us in a straight path. Yes, Father, you said, ask and it shall be given. So I'm asking you, as a father would ask, I'm asking you and coming to you in truth, love, faith, as your daughter who depends on her father. Answer. In the name of Yeshua, Alleluia. I pray that each of you have a great day. I pray that you receive something awesome today. I love you, and I pray this message did not get hindered because I don't know. We'll see. Because these devils know. I am not with no BS. They know. Time for you to know now, though. It's time for us to wake up to know. All of us, not one at a time. We need to come out of the darkness. You'll know how important and detrimental it is to your life eventually. I just pray it's not too late. Oh, I'm ready. If you stay ready, you remember that? You ain't got to get ready because you don't know. You don't know when he's coming. So if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Start right here, baby. Start right here, my black people. Start right here. Start reevaluating the way you think, what you believe. Who are you trusting in? Who are you loving? If you're not loving, if you look at yourself and you're not loving what you see, and those people around you who you see in your image, start to clean up that house, baby. Get that broom and dustpan and sweep that thing out and start filling it up with the right stuff. Because in the end, just imagine if the whole world broke out right now in a war. Whose side would you be on? Ask yourself that. For every black person, so-called black person across this whole land, if a war was to break out, world war, I mean world, not land war, civil war, I'm World War III. Whose side would you be on? Who would you be fighting with? Who would you be standing with? What this is the ignorance that destroys us. Because it's, and I'm gonna tell you right now, if a war broke out right now, most of us would be by ourselves. Because you ain't gonna go with the white man. Not any white skinned person. Not even a Mexican. Especially not them. They worse than the white people to us. And I'm just calling it how I see it. I grew up with them. The ones I grew up when I was a kid, they was one way. But these ones today, oh, they ain't they white Mexicans. They worse than white people towards us. I used to get along with them back in the day. But these ones today, they're more savaged than white people. They are their seed, though, so they, like father, like son. You got to know, baby. You got to know. Love you. Oh Lord, I'm here to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, and the truth shall make us all free. Hallelujah. Whether it's leaving this world and going to another one or going through a battle and winning, however it comes, it's coming. Until next time, my people, love yourself, love your people, love and honor and respect and cherish one another. Quit speaking all this negativity online and focusing your small mind on little things, because if you're thinking little, then your mind is little. Grow up, not down. Grow up, not grow down. Grow up. Y'all, you got to know what these things mean. Grow up, higher, elevate, 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 elevate. I'm going to start having some, I'm working on my website. I'm going to start having some encouraging, empowering sessions going on for our people, because I know a lot of our people are being challenged by these spirits, and their spirits are low. So I want to do what I can to help encourage us. I don't have a lot of money to help. If I can, depending on what you need, if I'm able to, then I will help. If I see it will help you in a real way, I will help. But in the meantime, what I do have, like I said, is information. And I'm encouraged, self encouraged, so I can encourage someone else. I've always had that effect where it's like when I do something, it's like it causes other people to react too and start doing certain things too. So I have that kind of reaction. So I want to share that in a positive way. So this time I understand. I wish I would have known it 20 years ago. Then I would have been no joke today. But it's all in God's time. Maybe he did it to preserve my life, because he know I would have been a beast and I probably would have got myself killed early. I'm telling you, the way I think today, oh, I would have been dead a long time ago. If I would have been awake then, yeah. That's why they killed the Black Panther. That's why they killed Malcolm X. That's why they killed Martin Luther King. That's why they kill all our Black leaders, or who we consider to be our leaders. All Black men, like I said, are leaders, as well as their advising Black women. You've got to know. Don't you ever mistake who our position. Our position, what did God say? When we come together, we're one, right? One, not two. You're stronger than me, more, yes, in physics, yeah, but not. What about our mental? We all have our own strengths, but together we make one. Let's not try to compare and weigh out a balance with each other. Let's just accept one another, work with each other, help one another, and grow together, and be strong and develop together, and quit worrying about who's better and who's not, and our positions and what we should or should not be doing. Let's just take what we know, what we got, and grow and build one another up. That's where we should be, not anywhere else, because anywhere else is taking us down, not up. So again, my brothers and sisters, I'm going to bring you that truth. And my truth ain't no joke. It's powerful. And this enemy hates me because of it. He's been trying to destroy me because of it. So it's time for you to wake up before he try to destroy you, and you lack the knowledge. And you don't know what's happening with you. You don't know what's going on around. You don't know why these things are happening to you. I know what's happening. That's why I can prevent some things from happening. Knowledge is power. Like I said in my song, truth is light. What I say? Truth is light. Light, an eye opener, light. Unity, you and me, unity, power. No fear, nothing but courage and strength. Life. You say you love your life. Love your life then. We are our life. Our unity is our life. Our unity is our life. Without unity, we're dying slowly. One by one. I just want to cry thinking about it, but I can't. I got to be strong. But it's touching my soul so deep right now just to say that. Wake up, my people. Until next time, may the Spirit of the Most High in all of us, that fire that's just waiting to burn, is kindling, but it's waiting to burn until it burns and lights you up. Try to reach for the stars. Try for your people. Reach for the stars. We are the stars. Something's trying to keep us down, and you got to know it's time to stand and fly together as one. Remember, I told you, we are that body. You got to understand, we have been broken into pieces. We have to come back together. And I'll get more in detail about that again later. I love you. Peace, love, prosperity, knowledge, discernment, understanding, spiritual empowerment and enlightenment and discernment. I speak it over all my people. I speak it over all of your lives, and anything that tries to come up against you, or anything that has come up against you, we bind it up and cast it out in the name of the Creator, the Most High Yah, in the name of Yahshua, the Word of Yah. Hallelujah, that lives within us, His people, His inheritance, His chosen generations. Don't listen to the lies. Don't be deceived by writings. The word proceeded from the mouth of a Jew. You And the only way for you to acknowledge that truth, you have to be awake, and it will be clear. I love you. I'm hungry. I gotta go eat. I just fed you all my food. Now I'm starving to death. I love you. Until next time. Let me stop putting up symbols and all that too. And that's I can't help that. I'm see that brainwash. I'm gonna just say it, brother. I love you. Peace. Until next time. Stay encouraged. Stay trusting. Treat your people as you would want them to treat you at all times, even if they're ignorant. Just ignore them then. But don't be mean. Don't give them the negativity. Now the other people, do what you will, but our people, treat our people with love at all times, because the way you treat us is going to affect you. We matter, not no one else. You better know it. Kisses, hugs, kisses and hugs, electronic kisses and hugs. I love you. Oh no, my thing fell down. Oh, you ratchet little thing. Don't be trying to knock down my love. Nothing gonna stop my love. Everything. Oh shoot. We matter. If you don't know, we matter. Your will be done. I'm still streaming. Okay.